I have to sit down with my employees and tell them that a misguided policy is actually costing them their job.
Anything that impedes open and free worldwide trade is a concern for us.
If this continues, it can hurt global trade, and that sows the seeds for World War III.
A global trade war fueled by tariffs is threatening to upend the world's economy. The first shot fired earlier this year by President Donald Trump.
Today, I'm defending America's national security by placing tariffs on foreign imports of steel.
China resolutely opposes the unilateral and protectionist trade practices by the United States.
Let me be clear. These tariffs are totally unacceptable.
We're putting tariffs on $50 billion worth of technology and other things.
The Chinese side has to retaliate in order to protect our legitimate rights and safeguard the global free trade order.
After years of rebuilding foreign nations, we are finally rebuilding our nation, which is what we want.
I've come to the Midwest to meet Americans already feeling the effects of the trade war. I'm in the small town of Poplar Bluff, Missouri. Known as the gateway to the Ozarks, it has a population of 17,000. This town, like so many others all around the country, has faced economic hardship with the downturn of the manufacturing sector. Everywhere you look, you can see remnants of what used to be. But now, a new problem. The Trump administration's tariffs have hit this community particularly hard. And as it happens, this county came out strong for Trump in the 2016 election. He won 80% of the vote. I'm headed to Mid-Continent Nail, the second largest employer here in town. This company is on the brink of extinction because of the 25% tariffs on imported steel.
You know, we take pride in what we do, and our nails are building and securing the future of everybody in the U.S.
Because Mid-Continent has relied on importing steel from Mexico, the cost of their production has skyrocketed.
Of course, initially, you never think it can be as bad as it's turned out. When the tariff went in June 1st, that immediately raised the cost of our raw materials 25%. Within 2 weeks, we lost 50% of the orders that we had on the books, and within 60 days, our business was down 70%.
More than 185 people have lost their jobs since the Trump tariffs took effect.
I mean, I personally feel responsible for every person out there, the jobs that are gone and the jobs that we currently have.
President Trump famously said, trade wars are good. What do you make of that?
I think he's very misinformed, or he's more or less selling propaganda to people.
Cassandra, how long have you worked here?
Right at 2 years.
And your fiance works here too?
Yes. My fiance's been here almost 12 years. So this is really all he knows. This is kind of, to change jobs now would be just very, very hard for him.
And how many kids do you have?
Together we have 10. They range from 21 to 5.
Did you vote for President Trump?
Yes.
These tariffs that have been brought about by the Trump administration, what has that done to kind of your faith in the administration?
I haven't lost my faith in him. I haven't. There's a lot of positive things he's done, but I think it would benefit for him to come to places like this and see, what we do and how we do it every day. And I think maybe that would affect his thinking about these tariffs.
What's your biggest concern right now?
Coming in here and not having a job. Yeah, my youngest daughter, she's 6 now. She's had 2 open heart surgeries, a balloon, and a stent.
And did you vote for President Trump?
Yes, but there's a lot of things that he's doing now that I don't agree with.
If you could go back and cast your vote again, would you still vote for President Trump?
I still would.
Even though you might lose your job?
Yeah.
If you could rewind, would you still vote for President Trump?
Knowing what I know now, no.
The company is asking the Trump administration for a special exclusion, which would exempt Mid-Continent from the tariffs that have decimated their business.
All it takes is a signature to sign our 24 exclusions, and our 500 jobs in Poplar Bluff, Missouri are they're saved.
There have been some benefits to the steel tariffs, like the revival of a once-shuttered steel plant in Granite City, Illinois, bringing back what the company estimates are 800 jobs to this steel town.
And we are once again pouring new American steel into the spine of our country.
If you look at Granite City, Illinois, there were hundreds of jobs that have now been gained because the steel plant there was opened up. What would you say about that?
I would say it's very short term. So unless they have, amazing innovation plans to turn the steel mill into something much more, It's not going to, hold a candle to all the other steel mills around the world.
What are some of the things that have happened in the past that can inform how this could end and where we are right now?
One of the most glaring examples that really mirror what's happening today was the time right before World War II. When the Smoot-Hawley tariff was passed, yes, initially you had a bump up in jobs and, it seemed like, oh, America's great again.
We groped, we struggled, we found the way to better times.
And that pretty much lasted a year, and then it fell apart.
Discouragement, fear, failure.
And of course, we had World War II that followed the economic collapse. And I worry that something like that can happen again.
Right now, I'm at a soybean farm here in Wisconsin, and farmers all across the state are facing an uncertain future as the trade war continues to intensify. Hi, Nancy.
Hi, Chris.
Nice to meet you.
Oh, welcome to the farm. I'm Nancy Cavazangian. I'm a Wisconsin crop farmer. So we grow corn, soybeans, and wheat on my farm. We definitely run this farm like a small business, but it also, for us, is a way of life.
How long have you been doing this?
Well, I've been married to my husband for 38 years, so I've been farming with him for 38 years. Yeah, we're getting ready for harvest.
Wow, this is huge.
We have weather here in Wisconsin, so winter comes early, and we want the soybeans off before it snows. That's really important, so we have big machinery.
Soybeans are the #1 agricultural export from the US to China, and a very important source of income for farmers here in the Midwest. Since the Trump tariffs took effect, the average price per bushel for soybeans has fallen by $2. That represents a drop of about 20% in the span of a couple months. This is my first time in Wisconsin, by the way.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's why you can't leave without having cheese curds and spotted cow beer.
Okay, all right.
So most likely, everything we harvest this fall, we're gonna put in these bins and we're gonna leave them there and hope for a better market, and we hope we do get a market for them, because right now, we really don't have a market to sell our crops.
And then they're gonna stay there until the trade war ends?
Well, we hope it ends soon, right? If it doesn't, we may be selling it for a loss.
What would you want to say to President Trump right now?
I would tell him that farming and agriculture is a global business, that we cannot be protectionist. China imports 60% last year of the soybeans that we grew in this country. And that's a good thing because it helps our balance of trade. Our buyers there want to buy from us, but they're not going to because of what's going on at a higher level. I know people who probably won't be here next year to farm, and that hurts everybody, because the ag industry is the basis for our rural communities here. It supports our economics here.
When global trade slows down this way, then nobody can make much money, and therefore no one can hire anybody.
So what can they do? What can the nail manufacturers or the soybean farmers do at this point?
I don't know what they can do, frankly. There are going to be more and more people who are going to be dependent on welfare.
American farmers in states like Wisconsin are a very important voting bloc for President Trump. So back in July, he approved a $12 billion aid package for farmers who have taken a financial hit since the tariffs took effect. The $12 billion that the Trump administration has set aside for farmers, what do you say to that?
I say I'd rather have the trade than the handouts.
Trade, not aid?
Trade, not aid, absolutely.
I'm a firm believer that the intentions were not to cost Mid-Continental 185 jobs that it's cost so far. A tariff that our own administration put in place just doesn't seem like the battle we need to be focusing our efforts on.